Hi, my name is Nathan, otherwise known as the Old Man. I started this channel so that I can take 3D printers that are broken off the internet and fix them up and show you just how to do them. Okay? Today, we're going to be working on this Anycubic Kobra Plus. It came with a box of parts. You can see parts all over the place. No printer head on it. Matter of fact, it's missing quite a few parts. So, let's see if we can't put it back together and make a good 3D printer out of it again. Here we go. Let's take a look at some of the parts that came with this today. We can see right here we have our hot end, our LED, and our extruder. Right here we have a bag of screws and parts, stepper motor, print head bracket, extruder bracket, and a spool holder. We also have a bag of 0.4 millimeter tips, a sensor for the bed leveling, and we also have a volcano hot end. There's an upgrade for us for later. Let's get started. First thing we have to do is we're going to have to take our printer head bracket and we're going to have to remove this little plastic piece here because it's in the wrong place. The plastic part goes right over here on the other side. In order to get this in here, we're going to have to take off this little circuit board right here. We're going to have to make sure we do not damage anything on here. Real quick, just 4 Allen bolts and it'll pop off. Now that we remove the circuit board, let's go ahead and move this plastic bracket around to the other side. Plastic bracket is now back in. Let's go ahead and move on to the next step. Let's go ahead and get that bag of bolts we had earlier and let's see what we got inside and see what we need to do next. Let's put this bolt in here and then we're going to go ahead and start attaching this to our x-axis. This part's pretty straightforward. We're just going to take this spacer here and we're going to take the wheel and put it on and then put our lock nut on the other side. Should just take a few minutes. We'll go ahead and do the other top one as well and we'll set this thing in place. We're going to go ahead and we're going to snug up these bolts a little bit and just get them on here and make sure we roll okay. Once we get the rolling okay, we'll go ahead and give it one last tighten and check it again and we should be good to go. Now that everything's attached, we're going to go ahead and put our belts on now. Should be a fairly easy process. We're just going to slide on the right side belt, or as you're looking at it, the left side, and then we're going to do the right. Should slip on really easy. Just make sure that they're tight in there. We'll go ahead and adjust it later on when we get to the front. So far, so good. We only had to find one bolt so far, and this thing's going pretty smooth on the rail. Now that our bracket's attached back to the x-axis here, we're going to go ahead and put back on this little circuit board. Then we're going to plug in this cable here to the top and connect it to our circuit board. With that all snugged up, let's go ahead and we're going to look at all our connections to plug in our fans and our hot end to this little circuit board. We got our fans in the box of parts, but we didn't get a printer head. So I went on Thingiverse and found one. We're going to go ahead and print it off and see how it turns out. Let's slice this in Cura. It looks like it's 4 hours and 45 minutes. Let's go ahead and print it off. Now that we got that all printed off, let's go ahead and put in the fans. I had already started by putting these 2 fans on the side. Let's go ahead and put in the center fan right here. There's only 2 bolts to it. And then let's go ahead and put in the LED. And then we'll work on cleaning up the wiring. On the wiring here, what we're looking to do is take the wires and make sure they're not flopping around everywhere. We're just going to go ahead and press them into the little crevices down on the bottom right hand side and then around the bottom and then turn everything to the left and go ahead and route everything out that one side. That's where the control board plugs in, so I think it's a safe bet. We hook it through there, we can keep everything away from the hot end. The wiring here is pretty straightforward. Everything's clearly marked. We don't have any cut cables. So let's go ahead and start with the hot end and see where it plugs in. As you can see, the wire is marked TO. We just got to find the corresponding place on our little computer board here and we'll plug it in. This is our cable for the front 2 side blower fans. So it says right here that it's FO, so we'll plug that into the corresponding spot as well. Now that we have our blower fans connected and we have our hot end switch connected, it's time to plug in the LED. Alright, it's time to plug in our last fan. It goes right here on the left hand side, second one up, and it's the last small plug we have. Our last thing to plug in here is the hot end. It has a bigger plug on it. It only goes on the top, so let's plug it in and we're ready to go. Now at this point, I didn't remove the filament from the hot end. I went ahead and left it in there. The whole reason is when I put in the rest of this whole hot end here next, I'm going to push it through and then pull it back out, just like you would when you're changing your filament on your regular printer. Let's go ahead and put in our printing tip. We're going to take our wrench here and go ahead and put it in nice and easy all the way until it's snug against the base. Let's go ahead and put in the top right here. We're going to go ahead and make sure these two set screws are towards us on the front so that we can set in the bottom part exactly where it's supposed to go. Once the bottom's in, all we got to do is put in the top two screws. As you can see here, we have it ready to go. There's always something that comes back to bite you. So this printer head won't go on like this. We're going to change this bolt out, and then it should slide right on. Now you see it over here nice and snug. Let's go ahead and take a look at the back side and where the bolts go, and we'll put them in. The last 4 bolts we're going to be putting into our printer head, and then this thing is done. All we have to do is remember to take out the filament later. Well, this is the part that they gave us for our Bowden tube. That's not going to work. Let's go ahead and just get another one from Creality. Let's go ahead and put this filament sensor back on with the screws from the box that they gave us. This is our extruder plate. Let's go ahead and put this back into place. There's 3 screws holding it. 2 of them are threaded into the plate, and then one has a nut on the other side. Just make sure that you put this wire back where it's supposed to go right here and lock it all up tight, and then we're going to move on to setting in the extruder. Okay, everything's in here nice and tight. Let's go ahead and take a look at the extruder that they gave us. For the life of me, I do not understand why this zip tie is here. We're just going to go ahead and cut it off. See what happens. If this thing's good or bad, let's find out. Let's go ahead and put the extruder on the top, and then underneath we're going to put the stepper motor connected to it. There's 3 bolts that connect this thing. So let's go ahead and we'll put those in, lock them down, and then we'll move on to wiring and check it. So this is the wire that came with the printer. It's the wrong one. This is for an extension. We don't need this. The one we're looking for is probably about a little 3-inch piece of wire. I'll go ahead and remove this and get the part. Now that we got the right part, let's go ahead and install this. We'll go into the stepper motor, then into the panel here, and then that's the last part of the wiring that we have to do. With that all in place, we're on to the home stretch here. Let's go back to the Bowden tube and let's go ahead to our connector here. Let's put it into our extruder, and then we'll work on the size of the Bowden tube to put in. The way I like to do these Bowden tubes is real simple. Move the printer head far to the right, go ahead and measure your distance, cut it long, you can always cut it back. Then move it right and left, and let's see that, make sure it travels well. Once you know it travels, go ahead and connect it to the wire there, and this part's all taken care of. Alright, now it's time to see all of our hard work pay off. Let's go ahead and heat up the bed. Let's heat up the hot end. Let's see if the fans are working. And then we're going to pull that little piece of PLA out and get this thing all ready to print. This printer head looks really good on here. All the fans fit well. So I'm really happy with it. Just one last thing to do on this is the auto bed leveling. We got to make sure the sensor's working in there and nothing tears through this plate here. So cross your fingers, let's get this done, and hopefully we're ready to print. Okay, this is our first print with this printer. Let's see how it does. This is not good. It's way too close. We can't do this. I'm going to have to get in the settings and find out what's going on. Well, I found the problem. In the settings, the Z offset was set to plus 30. I moved it down to plus 10. I believe it should be set at 0. We'll go ahead and look at this second print, and I'm telling you, it looks way better. I think we got something here. I'll go ahead and clean this up later on, but I think we're good with this printer. These are results from our prints. The one on the right is the first one. The one on the left is the second one. And I think we're getting progress here. I'll go ahead and change the offset to 0, and I think we're going to be perfect. This project turned out really good today. We took a printer that was broken in a bunch of parts, and we were able to fix it. If you like what you saw here today, please like and subscribe.